Well, howdy, Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Yes, indeed, a brand new day filled with hope and promise, threats and nightmares. Possibilities are endless. Thumbs up for that. Hopefully, things will be good for you. But remember, balance in all things. You do need the negative parts of life in your life, just in balance. Even sadness and misery is a valid part of the human experience, and so by not having a human experience as a human being, you are essentially crippling yourself. So just thought I'd mention that. Yay, vocal cords. Thumbs up for that. So, to quickly front load the video, of course, if you could interact with the YouTube algorithms and leave me a comment, that would be very awesome. If you could toss me a like if you like what you see and hear, that'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, if you're not, awesome as well. And of course, I do want to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These beautiful and awesome people help to keep me literally alive. And that is, well, as stated, beautiful and awesome. It is a very, very appreciated thing. My money situation is bad, and these people literally do help to keep me alive. If you would like to become a patron, wherever the video description is, I don't know what device you're watching this on, the links are in there, so if you could check it out, very cool. Yay, YouTube front loading of videos, thumbs up for that. I slept last night, and that was good. I mean, late to bed again. I'm going to bed after midnight now. But when I wake up, it is 5:30. So I'm sleeping solidly until it's time to get up, instead of waking up and tossing and turning and just being bored and hurting. So that part's good. And of course, walkies all around town last night, and so many places that have shut down. Oh my gosh, I'm constantly finding new stores that I'm walking around going, oh, because they were here before I moved in, and now they're gone. So I don't like change. So there's that, and it's been raining constantly. So, and yesterday, the day started off with snow, and then it just was wet and raining and freezing all night, so thumbs up. As soon as it gets, not as damp, I'll take my video camera out again, hopefully drag it through the corn maze, the Christmas tree maze. And I haven't been able to find my card reader yet, so hopefully I'll be able to do that. Thumbs up. And past that, life is life. I've been trying to watch videos. I've been trying to still write. I'm still constantly thinking about things. It's cool. Oh, what life puts you through. When I was a teenager, I constantly wrote on my manual typewriter. I mean, I wrote constantly, all the time. But it wasn't until I was midway through my first year in the Air Force, my alcoholism got to be too much, and I stopped writing every day. And then I just stopped writing. And so I've had decades of not writing after wanting to write. Thinking creatively, yes, but just finding it too hard to actually physically write. So I'm still pushing and trying to get through that and trying to work on actually writing stuff, and thumbs up on that. Really quick, too, as a quick thing on NFTs. There is money to be made in NFTs if you're a quick early adopter, if you're one of the very top percent of people that are doing the whole NFT thing, because so many people are getting hosed right now. I was watching this one guy, and he's a smart fellow, and he was talking about how you could easily make some money just if you have like $160 lying around. And I'm just gonna go through this one real quick. It's like you make up a picture, an NFT, and you offer it for sale for $100. And then you go to a friend of yours and you give him $110, and then he takes that $110. He, she, they take that $110 and they buy your NFT for $110. So they made $10 on the deal, but you got your $100 back. So now they take that $100 that you give them, and then they sell it to one of their friends for $130. Same thing. They give the $100 back, they made a little bit, and then you take that and then they sell it to one of their friends, all in the same circle. You're all the same group, just sitting in a room doing this for 160, 170. And then the last friend of yours, fifth or sixth person, they do the exact same thing. They give the pool of money back in the middle, but for being a part of it, everyone makes a few bucks. Outsiders look at this and they go, there's a lot of motion going on with this. This thing is moving and it is steadily making money. Well, they're outside the circle. They come in and they buy it for the $1,000 that this last fellow, or who they are selling it for, and they buy it. $1,000 you all just made off this NFT. And is there actually any worth? No. So there's money to be made. Unfortunately, it's not for the people that are like normal people trying to get into this. And again, art is valued for its rarity. And when you can right click and save something instantly, it is digitally identical. It may have a different transaction on the blockchain. But when you buy an NFT, you're not actually buying the NFT, you're buying the transaction on the blockchain. So, yay. Or you could do like this one fellow who accidentally made a mistake and sold his NFT that he wanted to sell for like $300,000 for like $3,000. And then another person came in, bought it up, snapped it up instantly with a robot, and turned around and sold it for 100 times, 100,000 times, and made money. Just be careful, be careful. Excuse me. Past that, still doing what I can do. Traveling, being as creative as possible, watching videos, laughing, thinking of creative stuff. So now I'm going to spend more time talking about creative stuff. Two things I wanted to talk about. Hopefully I'll be able to get through them both. One of them is the presence. Well, boy, I really want to do this one, but I want to do this one as well. The reason I'm spending so much time on cryptids right now in this world is because as a year-long slice of life story that this is all going to be, it's taking place and showing everything, a little bit of slice of life of everything. And so I want to show this cryptid out here in the outside doing this stuff and showing little bits of their life. Now, I've mentioned how there's a friend, the person that comes up and has never been, devoured or killed by any of the other cryptids, and it turns out later on that they are a cryptid. Yeah, actually, I was thinking about that one just this morning. Of the various types of cryptid, this fellow would actually be one of the mythological type, that were really big in a lot of places, like the mythology of Japan and all this. They're one of the walk around and interacts with human beings cryptids. Transactional transgressions. You do something wrong, you get punished. But it's hard to trigger their script. Your mileage may vary as any kind of cryptid. Their script is hard to trigger, and when you do, it's hard to actually get to where you can make a transgression. And when you do, well, death is a nice guy. He's not gonna, get out of here. Go. And so it doesn't feel like a cryptid. Travels the world with this little dog befriending cryptids. Now, they're about 30 when they come across the, James Baker, who becomes a Sasquatch type, but a 13th kind, and so they're a largely untouched human mind in a non-human cryptid body. And of course, you have to devour human beings to survive. Turns out James Baker has to eat like a person a week. And for a while, this is rough. But it's about 2 months into it, they say, I don't think I should be called James Baker anymore. James Baker no longer exists. James Baker stopped existing the day that I became a cryptid. And so instead of going with James Baker, they're going with a variation on their last name. Bakir. Feels right to them. Whether it sounds right to anybody else Probably not. But Bakir sounds so much better and feels right to them. So yeah, they fully acknowledge, I'm not human now. But they, Bakir and Daph, spend their time as friends. They befriend each other just through talking, and Daph doesn't know they're a cryptid, but it turns out later on they do, and then they find out this stuff, and it's like, gosh, that makes sense. I also figure later on there's an experience that they're having together where Bakir gets badly injured, is going to die. But if you're a cryptid that is of the 13th kind, you can heal almost like that the moment you start eating someone. And they're in a place and situation where Daph is understanding that if Bakir dies, then they go too. Their survival is tied with Bakir. So if Bakir dies, they're not going to be able to get out of the situation, and they're gone. But if Bakir, if Daph lives, then Bakir will die. So there's 3 choices that this person can make. Bakir can die and then they will too, or Daph can live and then Bakir dies and they all both die again. They can just both die right there, so actually there's the 4th one. Or, as Daph says, to Bakir, they don't want to die, but they don't want both of them to die even more. So just make it as quick as you can, as painless as possible. Eat, heal, and go live. And then just on their knees and hanging their head and waiting. And so Bakir has to end them and eat them and live. Yay! It's a happy, friendly story. But I was also thinking, on the outside world, there is an open secret with a number of people that can do this stuff. Even if you cannot convince someone with no sight that this place exists, you still want to talk about it if you can see it. You still want to talk about it if you've been there. If you've had adventures, you want to talk about these things. Edgar Rice Burroughs with his John Carter of Barsoom, Mars. John Carter in the stories goes into a cave and travels astrally to the planet Barsoom, where he has adventures where people largely don't wear clothing except for armor, and they have wild adventures, and it's crazy and insane. Kind of sounds like someone has adventures on the inside through a different door, wants to talk about it, no one believes them, fictionalize it, write books about it. So in the outside, in this world, the media is filled with all sorts of stories about the inside, but stories that are fictionalized. Oz, probably on the inside. So for hundreds of years, this stuff has been happening. But, thousands upon thousands, and stories have made it in through because of people that can go out through just myth and story, and there's a ton of public domain stuff. Only 3 or 4 civilizations around the world have been close enough to a door and persistent enough to actually last, like the Crimson Kingdom. So for at least 1,000 years, stories about a person that is the king in crimson from the south in that area. Because everything's so transient and stories and such, one of the few that actually makes it outward and big in the outside world, only because of that, used for a lot of different things and used fictionally. So before World War I, the very few times the King in Crimson was mentioned, they were King Crimson, and they were portrayed as being Oriental and wearing Oriental robes. But it wasn't until after World War II, when U.S. propaganda started ramping up, and people who've been through that door where the King in Crimson is, he became the racist caricature for the Red Menace. Long fat, the mad tech tyrant, with his flowing robes, the exaggerated facial mask, and his wild and crazy Asian Oriental mannerisms. It wasn't until fairly modern, with the advent of movies and comic books and TVs, that people that actually know about the King in Crimson, it only takes a couple getting out into the real world and moving around and getting big in media. Comic books where, son of a gun, the King in Crimson is now being portrayed as a good person instead of the mad tech tyrant. In movies, problem is, public domain largely shows them as the racist caricature, so they're fighting an uphill battle. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab, and I gotta go through and thank however many people have left me comments. As long as it's more than 0, that is awesome. I used to get so many I couldn't even thank everyone. Now, oh boy. But as stated, anything more than 0 is awesome. Thank you. And even though I count American Sign Language, I get lost because of all sorts of mental issues, and if I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. I'm an American English speaker. We have Jack Frost, thumbs up and thank you. Little Tokyo, XXX, thumbs up. Ash, greatly appreciated. Netflix Mahai, thumbs up and thank you. Pink Bijou, greatly appreciated. Daniel Vincent, thumbs up. Mateus Bober, I sure hope I'm close, thumbs up. Jado the dog, thumbs up and thank you very much. And most of it is just from me, but the actual science stuff I just got online. Ben B, thumbs up and thank you. Larry from Space, I am sorry you're sick and I hope you feel better soon. Coco, thumbs up and thank you. And Ice Damon, greatly appreciated. Each and every one of you, as stated, you get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, if only in text and if only for a short while. But anything more than nothing is awesome. Thank you very, very much. And of course, I don't know the device you're watching this on is stated, but in the show more video description, I have links to all my various channels. I have reaction channel, creative channel, gaming channel that I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with. So, good Lord. So if you could check those out, that'd be awesome. I also have links to things like Twitter, Facebook, Patreon. And again, if you could become a patreon.com patron, that would be beautiful and awesome. Literally, it is bad. Almost my entire disability goes into paying for my rent, leaving me very, very little to actually survive on. So if you could help keep food in my belly, my pets alive, that would be very awesome and greatly appreciated. Thumbs up and thank you. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, I do have a PayPal link down below, and I am not above grubbing for your spare change. I got next to nothing, and anything helps. If you'd like to help me out without sending money, I have an Amazon wish list link with stuff like cat food and hamster bedding. If you could check that out, that would be very, very cool. Of course, do not feel obligated. I do not feel entitled, and if you cannot or do not donate, I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest. So thank you very much. If you could toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation I get from my existence, a definite thumbs up, and of course, if you could hit the notification bell on the subscription button, that would be very cool. Thumbs up and thank you. Now, I'm going to be changing this part of the board here soon, but still, for right now, do seek these 3 pillars of life. Do not make them the only pillars of life, but they are a good foundation. Thumbs up. And of course, all the variants going around and what they're doing, we have lost over 800,000 people in the United States, and we are poised to pass 1 million. Hokey smokes. You don't have to become a statistic. Please, if you don't have to go out amongst others, don't. If you do, socially distance, wear a mask, wash your hands often, try not to touch your face, get a vaccine if you haven't, get the booster if you can. It's the only way to be safe. No, you are not immune, but if you get sick after you've gotten the vaccine, you may be hospitalized. A very small portion are hospitalized. A fraction of a percent of people who have gotten the sick after the vaccination have perished. Compare that to the daily thousands upon thousands that are dying from the not being vaccinated from the virus right now. Please be smart, be safe, don't be a statistic. I mean, one day we all will. But until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is a very good thing in my book. Definitely a thumbs up.